We invite everyone to address our assembly with words of inspiration, lessons learned, or passionate ideas. Every opinion expressed here is strictly that of the person who gives it. Let us consciously and lovingly agree to agree to disagree if it does not resonate with us. And today's topic is in between spirituality, correct? Brought to us by our speaker, Dale Miller. It's my pleasure to introduce Dale Miller. I'm going to give a little tiny bit of a bio. I think most people, because he's modest, most people don't know that Dale's background is a PhD psychologist. He's done many other things in his life. That's his background. And Dale is one of the kindest, most spiritual people I know. And it is absolutely my pleasure to be married to him, but also my pleasure to introduce Dale Miller.
Good morning. I'm excited to be here. And my talk today is from my draft book, In Between Project, and concerns the nature of God, divine providence, and broadly speaking, prayer. The way people have traditionally thought of God in all three major monotheistic religions is of a truly majestic being that is all-powerful, created the universe from nothing, and controls everything that happens according to divine plan. This God is also seen as perfect in all respects, totally loving and knowing all things. On the other end of the spectrum are the atheists who don't believe in God, and the deists who believe that God created the universe and then stepped aside, leaving it to run on its own according to natural law. The nature of God is not purely a matter of speculation. We have tools to work with, including logical thinking and observation of what goes on in the world. Based on these tools, I have serious problems with both concepts of God just described. There is just too much evil and natural disaster in the world for God to be all-powerful and totally loving at the same time. The world has natural disasters that randomly strike innocent people. Wars, plagues, people born with birth defects, and billions of people scratching out low-quality lives in abject poverty. A truly all-powerful God would create a universe with better guardrails that provides the experience of life with far less negativity. Furthermore, the idea that God controls all things means that we control nothing, that our sense of having at least a part in directing our lives is purely an illusion. A truly loving God would not create us as mere robots carrying out the divine plan with the illusion of freedom. The atheistic and deistic conceptions unravel under the experience that we are all connected. Quantum physics has proven the concept of entanglement. Two particles that come close to each other take on something from each other and thereafter can influence each other even from a far distance. Science has also demonstrated that 99.999 plus % of all matter is actually empty space. Events can be described just as well as the interaction of force fields as the interaction between solid bodies. Thus, all people are connected. We all send energies into the universe that interact with and influence all the other energies in the universe. Since we are so connected, It makes sense that there is a consciousness of the whole to which all individuals are connected. And this whole is also conscious. Even innate computers are able to form a connected web through the internet. This consciousness of the whole is my concept of God. Various names would be appropriate, but I prefer universal consciousness, which suggests more than just thinking. My concept of the whole universe as conscious is not original. It has antecedents in mystical thought over the centuries. In addition, Arthur Eddington moved in this direction in his classic book, Nature of the Physical World, published in 1928, and Philip Goff published a 2018 article on the universe as a conscious mind. The essential qualities of universal consciousness are love, connection and compassion, fairness, wisdom, learning and self-improvement, and appreciation. I identify these qualities as divine attributes based on personal experience. Through study, meditation, and practice, I have progressed from being isolated, introverted, and having many prejudices to believing in these principles and applying them more effectively. I have also learned from the collective wisdom and experience that spiritual leaders, teachers and healers, scientists and philosophers have given us over the centuries. Since I achieved these insights into goodness and applied them in my life, how much more could universal consciousness do so? Universal consciousness, which has greater access to all knowledge, has reached the same insights, except with higher clarity and fuller application. Universal consciousness is not all-powerful and able to control people, other beings, and physical objects at will. If it were otherwise, the workings of universal consciousness would be more obvious. Universal consciousness operates within natural laws embedded in the universe that regulate matter, energy, and thought. Like each of us, universal consciousness is impacted by the energy flows moving through the universe. However, universal consciousness is actively involved in the universe through power of mind and participates with all other beings and energies in the unfolding of events. Since individual people have powers of mind, certainly universal consciousness does so as well. Energy flows from universal consciousness may be glimpsed in events such as mystical experiences, sudden conversion, spiritual growth, insightful discoveries, instinctive acts of heroism, and abrupt evolutionary changes. Universal consciousness is not perfect in either understanding or application. There are things about the universe that even universal consciousness has not yet learned. Universal consciousness, just like any of us, can be affected by negative energy flows. However, universal consciousness understands and expresses the highest qualities better than any individual. Of course, you're asking, how can God not be perfect? What's not perfect can't be God. In the early 17th century, everyone still believed, as they had since the beginning of astronomy, that the planets traveled in perfectly circular orbits. This was a matter of theological conviction. God is perfect and could not have created anything other than perfectly circular orbits. Astronomers devised convoluted theories of epicycles, with planets traveling on smaller circles within larger circles, trying to make theory fit with observation. But it still didn't fit. Famously, the observations diverged from theory by 8 minutes of arc, and the observations were accurate to 1 minute of arc. Johannes Kepler, who published his groundbreaking theory of elliptical orbits in 1609, wrote, "If I had believed that we could ignore these 8 minutes, I would have patched up my hypothesis accordingly. But since it was not permissible to ignore, those 8 minutes pointed the way to a complete revolution in astronomy." Kepler's theory was rejected or ignored by many, but over the next several decades, he won adherents as observations confirmed his predictions. It took a lot to give up theological perfection, even in astronomy. So it is no surprise that belief in God as perfect is so strong. However, universal consciousness as the highest expression of goodness, but not perfect, fits better with the observable universe. Furthermore, I assert that universal consciousness did not create the universe. The concept of God as creator is familiar and comforting, but has two big problems. One is the follow-on question of how God came into being. The second is the amount of evil and natural disaster in the world that conflicts with my belief in universal consciousness as a loving being. Therefore, I conclude that the universe has always existed. My idea has ancient and lofty support. The famous creation hymn from the Vedas states not only that the universe existed before God, but that God might not even know how it was created. Who really knows? Who here will proclaim it? Where was it produced? Where did this creation come from? The gods came afterwards with the creation of the universe. Who then knows where it has arisen? Where this creation has arisen, perhaps it formed itself, or perhaps it did not. The one who looks down on it in the highest heaven, only he knows, or perhaps he does not know. It is now clear that my concept of universal consciousness is in between. In contrast with those who see God as all-powerful, I do not believe that universal consciousness created the universe out of nothing, nor do I see universal consciousness as all-powerful, perfect, and all-knowing. However, unlike the deists, the Buddhists, the Jains, and the atheists, I see universal consciousness as actively involved in shaping events. The concept of divine providence has two parts: that everything that happens is under control as part of God's plan, and that everything happens as it is supposed to happen. These ideas are widely believed and are a source of comfort. Failure and misfortune are easier to accept if one believes that things could not have happened otherwise, and that all events serve a higher purpose. The opposite belief is that we live in a purely mechanical world and that we are at the mercy of the forces of nature. There is no higher power to guarantee that things will unfold properly. We are left to our own devices. I think the answer is in between. Divine providence does not fit with what we observe. I just can't bring myself to believe that there is a higher purpose for all the senseless, stupid, and disastrous things that happen. The simpler, more rational belief is that stuff happens. Yes, there are times when what initially appears unfortunate turns out not to be so. But other things start out unfortunate and just stay that way. However, we are not alone against the vicissitudes of nature. Universal consciousness does not control everything that happens, but is constantly present and sending positive energies into all situations. I think of the impact of universal consciousness as more like a gentle breeze blowing a sailboat in the right direction. So regarding prayer, or more broadly speaking, how people work with universal consciousness, the traditional view is that prayer is the way we ask God to intervene on behalf of us and those we love. God then decides which prayers to grant and which to deny. The opposite view is that prayer doesn't make any difference, as outcomes are predetermined by God or forces of nature. Again, my view is in between these two. My view is based on the belief that we are all connected to universal consciousness and part of universal consciousness. Deepak Chopra describes this relationship in his book, The Way of the Wizard. Insofar as you are one person, Merlin taught, you are like a drop in the ocean. Insofar as you are part of universal awareness, you are the whole ocean. Doesn't one drop simply melt away and get lost in the ocean? Arthur asked. No, an individual can never be obliterated, even through the experience of the ocean of consciousness, Merlin assured him. You can be yourself and be the all at the same time. This may seem a mystery, yet it is so. Being the one and the all is the key to how I work with universal consciousness. Prayer is not as a supplicant, but as a partner. By being the all as well as the one, I get into the same mind with universal consciousness, and we work together to create positive energies that help bring about good events. This is a topic for another message, but I also believe that not everything one thinks or desires can be manifested, even with the help of universal consciousness. There are just too many other people and forces out there that also impact how things unfold. I do my best to get into the positive flow of universal consciousness and the positive energies from other people, and try always to be thankful for whatever good the universe provides. I close with a personal example of how these ideas are changing how I think and how energy is flowing in my life. As some of you know, I have served on the Cuyahoga County Council since the start of the new government in 2011. Every 2 years, the 11 members choose one to serve as council president to lead the council. I ran for council president 4 times and lost 4 times. I campaigned hard with my colleagues and never obtained enough support to be chosen. I probably lost partly because of paradoxical intent, which is when you want something so much that you create obstacles that prevent it. After I lost in 2020, I felt done and ready to accept that council president wasn't my path. After a time, however, a colleague came to me and said that the council is changing. Some people have left. We have some new people, and there are going to be more changes. With the council as it's going to be in the future, you can win. Having lost 4 times, I was reluctant to run again and wasn't even sure of running for re-election for my council seat. However, I told my colleague I would run again for council and keep an open mind about council president. If the universe seemed to be unfolding as he predicted, I might try again. It was a completely different outlook. Rather than I'm going to make this happen. I opened to the flow of the universe and was truly willing to let it happen either way. Yes, there were things I could do to help, but it wasn't primarily up to me. I also recognized that I had to channel the way the universe is moving to make sure that if I won, it would be in a way that is positive and constructive. You're probably expecting me to say that I won on the 5th try. That's how these stories are supposed to end. However, no one knows. I don't think even universal consciousness knows. 3 days from today is the last day for candidates to file for next year's elections. Then I will know more about who is likely to be on council when the next vote for council president occurs on January 2nd, 2025. The universe will provide me some guidance on Wednesday. I feel the continuous presence and support of universal consciousness. We're working together to make things better. Not everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. I don't have the certainty that others do, but there is a lot of good in the universe. I do my best to be grateful for all good things and put out as much positive energy as I can. I wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and a healthy, happy, prosperous, and successful year in 2024 and beyond.
Okay, I'm sure Dale's open to questions or comments. Anybody have some thoughts?
I kind of go back to the beginning of your talk, right? Kind of got spun out thinking on things, because you can say things like that the bad things happen, that there's horrific poverty and wars and things that we would typically deem unfortunate or tragic and those types of things. So I'm a little bit curious on your view when maybe that is the karma for those people that are born into those situations. Maybe that is their divine plan, even though in my estimate, I would not want to be in Hamas or Israel or Russia or Ukraine or, a lot of places. But those people, maybe they have a karmic path, or what's your view on some of that?
So actually, that's exactly what I don't believe.
Okay.
I think that that good stuff happens and bad stuff happens, and that not everything happens by design or plan. That there's a lot of energy moving in the world, and there's a lot of forces out there, and we have a part in what happens, but a lot of other people and forces have a part in what happens, and that it's not all laid out in advance. That we're put here and we're given the opportunity to help create how the universe develops.
So you do believe that we're here to help create how the universe develops?
Yeah, I do.
Did I hear you right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, right, and I would agree with you there. So
Yes.
Thank you for discussing the in between the extremes, and there's certainly a broad range in between those extremes for sure. And the thing I took away from what you're saying here is that we individually have free will to react to these natural forces that are occurring out of the universal consciousness because everyone's inputting into it. But we still have free will to react either to slog through a negative thing or to rise above in a positive manner within ourselves. Is my understanding of what you said in that range?
Yes, that's totally correct. I believe we've been given free will, and we are constrained by how we've been brought up and what our background is and what our physical limitations are. I I couldn't become the world chess championship. I'm not smart enough. I couldn't play basketball. I'm not tall enough. There's things I can do and things I can't do. But 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 I believe that we have a fair amount of agency, that we can do things that not only help direct and affect our own lives, but also can positively affect other people and send out a lot of positive energy that can help make the world better. And I also think that the amount of free will that we have is not a static thing. There's things we can do to increase the amount of free will that we have, like being very present in the moment and before we do something, think of 5 or 6 different ways that we might respond to it, which is not typical how we've responded to it in the past, and pick one of those new ones that might be better. So we can do these things that expand our freedom and expand what we're capable of accomplishing. Yes.
One of the things that you said, that it's a concept, but I never thought of it, was who created God? I mean, that was like, what? Who even thinks, to me, like, who even thinks that question?
So I can't claim originality about this. This has been a long discussion where you get one person that says if God is all powerful and created the universe, and then the opponent says, well, who created God? And this debate has been going on for thousands of years. And yes, I think it's a problem. So it's part of the reason why I say that the universe has always existed. Yes.
Well, I like the idea that we don't have a path that is like in the woods. Wherever we walk becomes our path, and the ground we stand on is holy because the energy comes through us, and that makes it holy. And I'm free to go anywhere and choose to help somebody or go past them, and that creates our fate.
I just totally agree with that. I think we have a good amount of freedom to choose our direction, both for ourselves and also through the energies that we send out. We have some impact on the people around us, and so there's both. And yes, I think the path is not laid out. We choose the path as we go. I'm sympathetic to some extent, a considerable extent, to the existentialist viewpoint, which in simple terms is that we make it as we go along, as opposed to that our essence was determined from the start. We make who we are to a good degree. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dale. Okay, let's see where we are. Oh. Healings and